Hello everybody, I'm Raphael Perry and it's time once again for some more of Steve Jackson's Sorcery. Now, I have received a message from a great sorcerer Pendel that I should be able to get onto this island over here, the island I have been unable to access so many times. However, I may need my boat which went missing. The boat that vanished when the tides of time changed in the morning. If only I could turn back time. If I could turn back time quite a bit to a point when I had a boat. Now, this will obviously involve losing the brass pendulum, but I may be able to regain that now. It will even involve going back to before meeting the time serpent, but that will still have happened. Now, I have some thoughts about this. Why would I have such a great power to turn back time? The obvious reason would be to allow me to make better decisions, to learn from my mistakes. However, it could also be prophetic, right? It could be that I'm not turning back time at all, but I am looking into many possible futures. So, the power of prophecy. But things like the time serpent recognizing the fact that I have turned back time makes that feel less likely. It could be a prophetic dream in which we plow through many possible... Come on, boat, yes. Right, let's... Where did we get the boat? We got the boat here. And I think we can go to there. The problem with the boat is that it was not allowing me to rest. But let's try. That's rewind or rewind, as Max from Life is Strange constantly mispronounces. You row the boat onwards across the water. Every stroke is hard through the strange, thick water. Now, I need to get to... Maybe I need to get round here, right? I need to try and stay in the same timeline as well. Okay, that'll do. That'll do. My mouth does not want to work tonight, does it? You row the boat onwards across the water. More stars come out. The oars draw whirls and ripples in the surface of the lake with every stroke. I would like to get near the island. You row the boat onwards to cross the water. This is now the dead of night. You heave on the oars, gliding onwards. The motion is calm and relaxing, but you seem to move no faster than a crawl, however hard you work. The stars in the water ripple and shift, forming strange patterns. You have come within reach of a small island. Does that mean I can cast a spell here? I don't mind, I'm getting on the island. So previously, when I was here and here, I started to get messages about the cliffs around the island being too steep to climb. I'm getting on that island. I have been trying for multiple episodes. And here I shall obviously want to sleep. You row the boat onwards across the water and then pull it up onto the shore. The night air is freezing cold. Your breath freezes on your lips, and now I'm going to get out of the sodding boat. It is night. You would do well to sleep here. Removing your pack on the shore of the lake, you try to rest despite the shivering cold of your still wet clothing. Why still wet, you might ask? Because we swam to this island, and it was only at this island that we obtained the boat. I close my eyes and lay me down to rest. You close your eyes and let your tiredness overtake you. The long night is restless with visions. Through it all, you feel the heat of Analand burning should your quest fail. Maybe, at some point in the future, I cast the Z spell and it has messed up the timeline so much, that's why I'm able to keep changing all my actions in the past up to the point where I cast the Z spell. Perhaps in this game, that's what the Z spell does. The Z spell allows me to go and rewrite the past the same way the time Serpent was doing. You ran out of provisions and lost some gold, and found no new clues. No, but I've defeated 6 of the serpents, so I'm doing well. The sun rises above the waters of the lake. The island is covered in dense tree cover. The top of a stone tower is just visible above the canopy. Pulled up in the shallows is your rowboat. Well, I'm going to explore inland, because there's a tower with a giant telescope on top of it. You move away from the shore and into the tree cover of the island. Of course, activating the beacon may send my boat to another time period, but hey. What compass? The path winds along the shoreline, skirting an area of dense trees. Then it ducks below the canopy and you are surrounded by the calling of strange creatures. Insects and birds buzz past your face. From the shore, you saw a stone tower sticking up between the trees that fill the island's heart, but now you cannot see the way forward, and the paths seem to twist and turn about. Obviously I have a spell, right? But let's take a look at this compass. It's a non-magical compass, so obviously the How spell would be better than the compass. And it is probably available. So, how is Zen available? Yep, Zen to float above the trees. Cost me no stamina. Sure. You weave the spell and the medallion begins to glow as you rise gently up into the air. I'll float above the tree line. Floating upwards, you are able to clear the canopy layer and look across the island. The tower is immediately obvious for here, and it is not far either. Then I will float over to the tower. I could land and walk, but flying... Oh, wait, birdmen from Salmon. Yeah, walk. You settle down to earth, making sure to remember the position of the tower through the trees. A flock of nearby birds startle at something, lifting suddenly into the trees. I'll go straight for the tower. I could use a compass, but I'm going straight for the tower. Sod it. You set off through the trees. After a few minutes of walking, you come within sight of the base of a stone tower. It is heavily overgrown. That's fine. The door to the tower stands open. Gnarled roots and vines have forced it open and are now holding it ajar. There may be some significant growth within the tower. Let's venture through the door. No, I'm not. I'm trying to move. It's click and hold and drag, not... The inside of the tower is dank and filled with mud, as though it has been flooded and emptied several times. Possibly by me, actually. Or the tide rising up. The tide doesn't get this high, though, here. Huh. Stone stairs curve up to a hatch in the roof. You gasp as you notice the walls, which are covered floor to ceiling with intricate carvings. Suddenly, something lights up in one dark corner. A flame. I will look at the flame rather than approach it. Because, you know, fire burns stuff. The flame seems to hover a short way off the ground. As you watch it, it swells in size from a single thumb to a fireball size of the size of a small dish. I'll call out. "Who's there?" you demand into the pooled darkness behind the flame. The fire has grown now to a dull fireball of clearly magical nature, and in its light you can see what is holding it. It is a rough wooden frame of sticks shaped into the form of a woman with arms spread wide. It's a Grimalkin! That's a kind of goblin, isn't it? I think it's a goblin name rather than an actual goblin. Can I cast a spell? It is a Grimalkin, like those you saw as an apprentice, magical constructs which gather magic the way a funnel gathers rainwater. Destroy it, run, or wait and watch. Can't I cast a defensive spell? I'll wait and watch. A fireball, hot and fierce, shoots forwards from the wooden frame towards you. Duck! You hit the floor and the fireball punches over you, not aiming at the door but instead splashing up the staircase that leads up to the tower. The room is dark for the moment. I will cast a spell. M-A-G. Is it there? No. Bugger! I don't want to be clumsy or slow. I don't want to... Dock? Okay. Worth remembering. Yap? No. Yaz? No. So this is clearly proximity based. It may be vision based. Wall? Sure. I mean, it's no. The N. Nip. Sounds really good to me. But I could run up the stairs very quickly. I probably want to dismantle this thing so I'm not constantly harassed by it. I mean, we do have Zap. Ooh. Wait a minute. What cancels hot? I probably don't know. But it would be nice to find out. Counters dock. Ooh. This is dumb. This is so dumb. Dock is it's available. You cast the spell across your potion and it begins to glow and fizzle, but strangely the spell then seems to fizzle out, as does the Grimalkin's fireball. You wait, expecting them to resume, but they do not. It would seem the spell of healing does indeed counter the spell of fire. The Grimalkin is quite still. Once more you notice the carvings on the wall, forgotten in your battle with the Grimalkin. I will look at those in a moment. For now, though, you approach the Grimalkin somewhat warily, but it does seem to have been deactivated. It is a simple enough contraption. The skill in building such a device to channel starlight is not in the materials or construction, but in the simple geometry of the arms. They must be positioned exactly to collect starlight, but of course they cannot feel and adjust what they are doing. This one must have been constructed by a highly experienced mage. It is nothing but lashed together strips of wood, and appears almost casually assembled, but with quite deadly intent. Now I shall examine the carvings. The carvings are beautifully preserved, unlike all the other towers you've climbed. They cover the walls from floor to roof, telling a story in sequence. The first panels show the construction of a great city on the shores of a lake by a powerful and proud people. Then the city is threatened by a series of avalanches and other disasters attributed to an underground demon. Several buildings are destroyed. You climb a little way up the stairs and pick up the story of the carvings. The destroyed buildings are rebuilt by a council of wise men and women are gathered to discuss the problem. Oh, but a council of wise men and women are just gathered to discuss the problem. They scratch their beards and comb their hair and rub their eyes in thought, and finally they are set to building a series of great towers scattered throughout the land. The purpose of the towers is not clear, however they all seem convinced they will save the city from further disaster, allowing them to go back into the past and help guide their society away from problems. They celebrate with raised arms. The final panel of the carvings shows a man in a horned helmet delivering some kind of equipment to the builders of the stone towers. From the symbols on this man's cloak, you realize he is supposed to be one of the archmages of High Salmon. I mean, it's less of a helmet and more of a headdress, really, but, it makes it look like there are horns poking through his hair. Each tower is fitted with a lantern, and the lanterns are lit. Birds freeze in mid-air, rivers cease. In the light of the lanterns, clouds stop their scudding across the sky. Below the level of the towers, the land is peaceful and the people are happy. It seems the light will keep them safe, and that is the end of the story. For now. From here you could go up the tower or back out into the trees. Up, up, up I go. Where I stop, blatantly I know. You make your way up the steps of the tower and open the hatch in the ceiling. Once again, the tower is topped with a movable cylinder and a blue crystal. I will gaze upon the view before me. From here, you can see across the island to the water that surrounds it. More interesting is the shoreline further south, where two towering statues lift hands into the air, sorcerers lining the start of the road to High Salmon. Let's activate the beacon. This tower seems to be broken. You are forced to give it a kick before the beam begins to shine. Interesting. Glad I didn't have to go and do anything to, bring an item to fix it. Let's adjust the beam. Hello, beam. You're shining exactly where I want you. Exactly. On it, on it, on it. There we go. Let's just... I'm not happy with this time dilution. I think that's close enough. It seems incredible that anyone should have built these towers with their curious lanterns. Indeed, you cannot help but wonder what these towers did originally, what appeared in the land beneath the beam when the land was everywhere lush and green. Where the light touches you, you suddenly feel much better. Odd. I want to rest. I want to rest soon. No, I don't. It's blatantly daylight now. Okay, good. I will touch the blue crystal. You touch the blue crystal and feel yourself floating, and now, for what I've all been waiting for. Dun 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 dun. My theory. My rubbish theory. But hey. You fall from the sky. You find yourself on top of a tower that looks out over a ruined city. The metal cylinder waits on its track, and I will adjust the beam. You need to be shining on the Serpent. I mean, that's pretty direct, right? Let's touch the blue crystal. You touch the blue crystal and you appear to soar up into the air. Guess where I'm going? You return downwards. You are back in the branches of the tree. The telescope-like cylinder rests on its setting, and I will adjust the beam. Now, this is tricky, because I don't want to lose my boat. Oh, hello, Serpent. We've been expecting you. Okay, we've definitely got these two focused on it. Let's touch the crystal. Where am I going, you might think? I've got a brass pendant to go and fetch. I'll clamber down. Now, I don't know for certain if that dock spell used up my potion or if I still have 2 Blimbery potions. Potion of Mystery, I should still be careful with that. Or perhaps I should drink it while I still rewind time and see what it does. Blimbery juice. It did use my Blimbery juice. Okay. Good to know. So, out into the swamp. Oh, that's not good. That's not swamp, is it? Yeah, okay, look, that's a problem. What am I doing? I should be lazy. No, okay. How about... Oh, good, yes. See, now it's for marsh. How bizarre. And I cast my Zen or Foul. I think Foul. F. A. L. And I'll have that brass pendant. Brass pendulum, rather. Then I'll go back to the tower. And even though it appears to be blocked by the mountain, 2 is too many, right? 2 is 1 too many. So 2 times too many is 2 and 3, because it's 1 is enough, another 1 is too many, another 1 again is too many. But also, too many is 2, so 4. So I'm going to shine it this way anyway. Oh. Will this get rid of my boat? Let's find out. Oh, yeah, that seems quite... Okay. We got some. Oh, yes. Some on there. Good. Touch for crystal. Go northwards. Because apparently this doesn't reach quite far enough. So I need to adjust the angle. Upwards, I think it is. Or downwards, right. Downwards makes it shorter, upwards makes it longer. I'm having distinct difficulty getting it to register over there, but hopefully that is enough. Let's take a look at the map. I mean, it seems to stop right around here and not quite get there. I need to see time dilation past this island. This one seems to get there. No, so it is going all the way over there. I suppose there's one way to find out. And we'll touch the crystal and go all the way back to here where we have a boat. Allegedly. You drop downwards. You find yourself on top of a tower that looks out over a thick forest. The telescope-like cylinder sits on its setting. I'll climb down. You return to the base of the tower. From here, you could go back up the tower or back out into the trees. Out to the trees I go. You step out into the forest once more and return to the shore. You return to the shore of the lake. A pole with a bell seems to have appeared on the shoreline, and someone must have taken the boat because it is gone. Well, bugger. Oh well, it's a short swim now. Oh, but I can't... Ah. You plunge down into the water and begin to swim. Can I get back on the shore again from here? You swim onwards across the surface of the lake. It is hard going. Clouds rumble as they roll across the darkening sky. You rest, lifting your face from the water, but the shoreline is too rocky and rough to swim ashore. You will have to keep going. That is the line I've seen before. Well then. Oh, bloody night time? Could I not, you know... Could I not sleep? Return inland. The path moves away into the trees. Now that you know the path, you waste little time in finding your way back to the base of the tower, where I intend to rest. The door to the tower stands open. If I can't rest in this one, I can rest in another. Can I rest here? No, I can't. Okay, fine. I can rest in this one, though. Or at least I have been able to before. It's at the bottom of the tower, isn't it? Nope. No. It's wrong tower. Wrong tower. Okay. It's one of these two. I think it's this one. Go down. Seriously. Nope. Why am I being constantly denied rest? Let's try this one. Is it at the foot of this tower that I can rest safely? It may very well be. Down. Seriously? Fine. In which case... No. Oh. No, that should be okay. Huh. This one just doesn't seem to want to reach it somehow. Huh. Have I got it too high, too low? I'm not sure. So obviously, if I'm going to get tired and rest, I'm going to go to the northern tower where I may need to make an adjustment anyway. Look, let's look at this. Right. Okay, no, it's definitely having an effect over there, so that's good. So here's the plan. I climb down the tower. I go to the shore. I rest. I come up the tower. This isn't going to work, is it? Because it's going to take all night to get to the shore. So we go along the road. Oh, crack in the ground. Yes, good. No throngs of ghostly people. Now let's go through the past when it's a busy road. Okay, no, good. And go there or just go here. This looks like a significantly shorter journey. And we will sleep by the crack in the ground. I will not drink a Blimbery potion. Found no new clues. That's fine. Ah, we go here, we won't be able to buy any food. Okay, fine. Well, back up to the tower we go. All this walking will tire us out, and then we'll have all the swimming. I have a horrible feeling we are still going to need to rest when we get to the time Serpent's Island. So we will touch a crystal and go back down to the southeast, where much swimming awaits us because apparently all those beacons have messed up the boat. But it finally got us on, which is what matters. No, I couldn't. I was thinking of... So I could go back to the other tower, rest... No, I can't. Oh, yeah. Well, let's go down. And back to the water. At which point... Yeah, that's starting to look like evening's drawing on, so it's looking like a waste of time, unfortunately. I won't ring the bell, I'll just get in the water. It's going to be night by the time I get there again, isn't it? Right, so... Yeah, look at that, see? You keep a steady stroke as you make your way through the water. Clouds rumble as they roll across the darkening sky. It'll be night soon. You've reached the south shore of the lake. The stone harbour is a ruin. I could go there. That may be a point of no return. And I may not be able to rest. I could cast a spell. A crumbled shoreline throws rocks into the water. Either side of the piled rocks are two pairs of enormous stone feet broken off above the ankle as though cut with a scythe. What spell could I cast? Zen? Yes, let me fly over the water. Consulting the stars, you bind the magic, and the medallion begins to glow as you rise gently up into the air. You rise up out of the water and float over the edge of the harbour to settle calmly on the ground. The spell fades once more. I didn't want to do that. Well, can I rest here? Hello, these statues look quite... You have successfully crossed the wastes of Kakabad. But wait, no. No. The road to High Salmon leads southeast from here, but some of the Archmage's serpents are still remain. If they reach High Salmon before you, then your mission will be discovered and the guards of Mampang will be expecting you. Well, I don't want to do that, do I? You look at the towering statues on either side. A sorcerer on the left, a sorceress on the right. Each lifts a hand to the sky, reaching for the power of the stars, winding them, moving the constellations of their fingertips. The figures show might, power, and confidence. Magic, they say, is a force for the betterment of all. Perhaps this was true once. Once indeed, preempted. Now magic is just the thread that keeps you alive, and as more magic collects into the hands of the Archmage, it will soon spell death for all. Something glints between the statue's toes. You look closer. Set in the wedge between the fourth and fifth toe of the left statue is a small blue crystal. I will touch the blue crystal. You touch the blue crystal and you are soon dizzyingly high. Wait, really now? Okay, so they are a beacon. Let's just go back and not cast Zen. I will continue to swim. Swimming like this is very tiring. Night falls. You should try to find somewhere safe to sleep, especially after travelling all day without eating. So, the limited rest locations are forcing me to arrive here late at night. I can't rest somewhere then arrive here during the day, which sets up the time serpents I killed you last night trick. You swim on through the water. It is tiring work and horribly cold. You stop briefly, holding up your head and catching your breath. You have swum into sight of a rocky island. You cannot keep swimming without a break. If I get on here and it's like, oh no, you couldn't get that third beacon shining all the way over here because it's kind of stopping here, it runs out of power, that'll be piss annoying. Oh well. Good luck. You drag yourself exhausted onto the shoreline. The dark is treacherous. You will have to rest here. Putting down your pack on the shore of the lake, you try to stretch out despite the shivering cold of your still wet clothing. You have eaten nothing today, but you have no provisions and only a single vial of blimberry juice, which I should save for an emergency like that. Grimalkin. You stretch out and rest. The night is filled with vivid dreams. Mocking laughter seems to ring in your ears. It seems that sleeping on the beach is unavoidable. The sun rises above the waters of the lake. The island is a pile of rocks as though dumped from a giant's bucket. Near the shoreline is the bell for the ferry. No, I'm just going to walk in. You get up from the shore and go inland. You head away from the shoreline, up the rocky slope of the island. There is something very strange about this place. The air moves with insects which seem sometimes frozen mid-flight, but at others spin through the air. Clouds stop, shift, then stop once more. It is as though the whole island is running on ticking clockwork. I hope this is... Has this description changed? I feel it might have changed somewhat, and I hope it is because I've focused 3 beacons on it. However, I cannot say for certain. The air shines and glows with the overlapping light of the beacons you have converged onto this island. Now that's different. It is as though a battle of elemental forces is being waged in the air itself. I will look ahead. You creep a little up a stony embankment to try and peer at what is up and stony embankment. That's a little more upper class and old-fashioned, very sort of 1950s. You creep a little up and stony embankment to try and peer at what is ahead. You make out a bowl-shaped depression in the ground, some kind of pit. At its base lies something, a coiled shadow, but you cannot make out what it is without getting closer. You return to the path, thoroughly alarmed. Can I cast a spell? I can cast Zen. I don't have the thing to be invisible. off. Not gonna help me on the path here, is it? Yaz is invisible, which I do not have. Sus, I've got a pretty good idea what the danger is. And sharpen my sword. Resurrect nobody in particular. Sharpening my sword may be wise. Then, consulting the stars, you bind the magic and the medallion begins to glow as you rise gently up into the air. You continue climbing up the strange, dead slope. The path turns and then descends into a bowl-shaped pit. This is gonna be lethal. You crest the stony rise and look down into the pit below, where a coiled serpent lies, sleeping in the middle of the intersecting beams of light from the towers. The creature has not yet noticed you. In fact, it seems to be still, the only unmoving thing on this busy, bustling little island. You try to approach stealthily, but stumble and slip down the loose mountainside, sending loose rocks flying with each step, but the creature does not look up. Indeed, the creature does not react to your presence at all. It appears quite immobile. "I will kill you now," you tell it serenely. The creature attempts to reply, but it seems the weight of the criss-crossing beacon light across its body pins it down. It lifts its head a fraction, perhaps just enough for you to cut its throat. Blood pools around its feet. Its feet? The serpent has feet? My feet? Maybe. Very slowly, its eyelids open as though it were pinned by weights. Then it chokes once, and the light inside its eyes goes dark. Is it dead? You stride over and check the beast's heart, but there can be no doubt. It is over. It is dead. You have now defeated all of the 7 serpents. Something is happening to the island. The first thing you notice is the clouds as they start to hurry across the sky. The grass begins to shift and move in the light wind. A few loose rocks skitter down the slope. The island is moving once again, and the light from the beacons fades from view, and you feel a great wellness. With all the serpents defeated, there is nothing stopping you from making your way to Mampang. Do I need to rest here? I mean, I already did, right? But now your quest will not wait. You head back to the shore. Back to the shore. There we go. You return to the shore of the lake. The pole with the bell has disappeared. Your weight returns, and you settle gradually back down to the ground. A flock of winged Meritians passes overhead, calling to each other in guttural voices and laughing. Time to swim. You steel your courage against the task and dive into the water. You try to maintain a regular pace as you swim. The moaning winds tug at your pack and sword. Now, bear with me on this one, because I have a dumb idea. Swimming like this is hard work. The sun is hot now. You pause for a moment, wiping your eyes. Has anyone guessed what I'm going to do? You swim onwards across the surface of the lake. It is hard going. The sun is beginning to lower. The air begins to cool. You are back at the stone harbour of the lake's southern shore. You have defeated all 7 serpents. Time then to push ashore and proceed to high salmon and the crown of kings. but not before I do something stupid and irresponsible. You wade through the shallows to the shore. Slowly, the sun begins to make its way back down the sky. You have successfully crossed the wastes of Kakabad. The road to Hike Salmon winds southeast from here. Now the serpents are defeated, the only way is forwards. That's not entirely true now, is it? We're going to look at the statues again. And we're going to look at their feet. And I'm going to touch a blue crystal. Because this is a dumb idea. I will adjust the beam. Hey, fishermen. Sell me your stuff. I'll climb down and head towards the shore. The thing is, it will take me like a day to get back here, but I think it'll be worth it to stock up. First off, I'm going to pray for healing. Good stuff. I think about 3 or 4 rations ought to do it for the next book. Just continue down the road. Go to the beach. Get some nice sleep here. Creatures snuffle. Rest. If I sleep in a market stall full of food, creatures might come for me. No, I'm just going to sleep on the shoreline. I will not drink my single vial of blimberry juice. You have defeated the Serpent of Time, the last of the 7 serpents. The sun rises, bringing with it chatter and excitement as stallholders and fishermen begin to gather at the shoreline. The early morning sun makes the air glow. Now, hey, I wanna... Wait, what? What about the market stalls? No. No. Market stalls. Where am I? Why can't I buy food? What's wrong? Oh, game, are you being horrid to me? I think you're being horrid. Did I not... Did I not angle it well enough to get all the market stalls in? Right, there we go. Everything is blatantly in there now, right? Yes. Climb down. And let's try again. This is me trying to be too clever for my own good, isn't it? The game's like, no, you can't have any more food. You've had enough, thank you very much. I'm like, oh, but I wanted some. I was like starving and hungry and subsisting on mere faith alone for days out here in the wilderness. It's a miracle I made it through here at all. I had somewhere to rest. Sleep by the shore. Do not drink the blimberry potion. Very easy to click that by mistake. Market stalls in the morning. Come on. No market stalls. No. Clearly intentional. So now I know. I'll leave it where it is. You ignore the gleam. The road to Mampang beckons. There is no time to waste and no turning back to be done. Yeah, they don't want to let me go buy any rations. That's gonna be an end of game, isn't it? It just folded up inside itself and disappeared there. There is no time to waste. on the Xaman Road. You begin the slow climb. Ahead, the stony road leads to the into the Zanzunus, towards the fortress at Mampang and the final stage of your quest. You may yet be able to arrive in secret. You pass a fallen tree from which a sword hilt protrudes. This could be a magic sword. I could cast the big spell. You look at the blade. The hilt is that of a very fine blade indeed, and scratched into the sword are 2 words. A gift. Oh, not like they'd written it on the tree or something, but on the actual sword itself. That's dodgy. Could be a trap. You draw the blade smoothly from the wood. It is long, curved, delicately weighted, butterfly sharp. This is a blade of the Assassin's Guild, no less. Flanker! In the far distance, a shadowy figure appears from view. Ahead, as always. You raise the blade in salute. You have taken 33 days to cross the Baklands. It is almost certain that the Archmage has received word of your journey by other messengers in that time. Who knows who the Serpent told before you found them? You walk on disheartened. So all that time wasted faffing around trying to find the last few serpents? Bugger. But hopefully he'll have less information than if the serpents had actually got back to him. Hopefully. As you walk, you are stopped by a man bent double under a great load. "You," he demands breathlessly, "you are going to High Xaman?" "That is where this road leads." The man nods. I know. He adjusts his grip on his heavy pack. Oh, is this because of the time torch shining? "I am going home," he tells you. "Home is Khare, a little village on the lake, over the marsh. I'm sure you don't know it." "Oh, I've been there once or twice." Wait. I shouldn't confirm, right? The Archmage could be anyone. So we got a beacon putting us in the past here, but we must have been in the present here for Flanker to be doing anything. It's a long way. You answer. "Just across the bridge. Less than a day," he replies, but he clearly does not feel as carefree as he might sound. A frown crosses his face. "Only I was worried by something I heard while leaving." "What did you hear?" "The birdmen up at the fortress are talking, you see, about the beacons. They say the beacons were emptying the land. I'm a simple peasant. I don't know anything about magic, but I'm headed home as fast as I can." The beacons shine upon the land and show the future. All the stuff from the past is gone and ruined, so it looks like it's being emptied. "Emptying it?" you demand, catching his arm. "How can a beacon empty anything?" "That's what they say. That's what they said," he says with agitation. "They said the beacons were wiping out whole villages, leaving only one bare rock and dust behind. It sounded so strange, but then I heard the rumours that Tin Pang had been turned into a ruin overnight, and all the people gone." Did he also hear about the beacons bringing things back again? His voice drops to a whisper. "They say it is being done by the most evil sorcerer in the land." And then, when I pick up the crown and become the Archmage and become the villain, at the end of the game they'll be like, "Haha, told you so." So yeah, I must not claim the crown for myself. I get the message, game. It's pretty obvious. Khare currently is lit up by a beacon, so I can reassure him. Who is that? "They call this sorcerer the Analand. Someone saw him turn the light onto Tin Pang, and then it was gone. What do the beacons do? They're supposed to keep us safe. He shrugs helplessly. I'm going home as fast as I can. His knuckles turn white on the strap of his pack as he talks. But listen, you look like a strong sort, so I tell you, if you see this sorcerer, Analand, then you kill him for us. He is a mighty sorcerer, I cannot defeat him. I'm not going to promise to kill myself. I cannot, he replied quietly. If you get the chance, you see about that. He pats you seriously on the shoulder. Think of the children. With that, he shoulders his pack once more and hurries away down the path to be quickly lost in the mist. Yeah, I think this is heading roughly where I thought, where it's like the Archmage is us having, well, not necessarily, but the Archmage could be like an Analander who went on this quest before, and we're here to correct his mistakes. Or thing is, if we were playing the female character, the Analand, the Archmage would still be a man, so that doesn't quite tally. Oh, right on the borderline. It was in the other time when I got there, but let's see. On either side, the ghosts of ancient traders, sorcerers and carts rumble up tracks in the steppes, delivering supplies to the fortress. Now, out of the pit of the Baklands, these figures are only half real. One calls out to another and rushes through you. You feel nothing. The only inhabitants remaining are birdmen, cursed to the air, that shriek like demons to each other. The sun sinks down behind the tallest peaks, and its dying rays light up a sight you will remember for the rest of your days, however few or numerous they are. Mampang. Tall spires and sharp angles make the building look like a rusted blade. One thing is certain. Entering the fortress will undoubtedly be the most perilous stage of your journey. Onwards then, to Mampang, where great danger awaits. Your journey across the Baklands is complete. You took 33 days to cross the Baklands. In the course of your journey, you defeated all 7 serpents, including the Sun Serpent, encountered Flanker once more, comforted the Sightmaster Sergeant in his last moments, met Elfira the Mystic twice, and defied the will of the reclining god Khare off. You learnt that all spells can be countered, not to eat from the larder of frog, and that you should not light the blood candle in Mampang. You collected a fantastic number of magical artifacts. You are armed with an assassin's sword and your original sword, and have no rations, 31 gold pieces, and a spellbook. The adventure concludes in Sorcery, Part 4. The Crown of Kings coming soon. I am absolutely saving this. CloudSave will save the story so far to our server and give you a code to use at the start of Part 4 to continue your adventure. You can save as many different playthroughs as you like and choose which to continue later. Butem again? Like last time? That doesn't make sense. How can I have the exact same spell set? How on earth did I get the exact same combination of letters and choices and events as at the end of Book 2? That's really weird. But there we are. And we're back to the main menu and credits. Well now, it would seem I have completed Book 3. Albeit with the same save password as the end of Book 2, which is somewhat disturbing. I'm reasonably pleased with how things turned out. Now, I will take a few days, no more than a week off before resuming with Book 4. However, when I do, I did promise that there will be a little surprise when I start Book 4, a little something pleasant. I was really tempted to tack it on at the end of this episode, but I think it can wait a little bit longer. I hope you've all enjoyed my struggle through this mighty, challenging adventure, and I do wish you will all join me once again for the grand finale of the series, where I will be trying really hard not to cock it up, because apparently the time rewind power goes away, which actually is really reassuring in a way. But it does mean that if I get tempted to explore something that I believe is an auto-kill, I should just not do so. Alright. I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I will look forward to seeing you all in the next episode, which hopefully won't be too far away. I'm going to say goodbye for now, though, and cheerio, everyone. See you all next time.